Welcome back to our off-grid homestead. Today I'd like to kind of catch you up on some of the things that we have going on because tomorrow we have some excavation happening.
Welcome to Ridgehaven Homestead. From the mountains of Upper East Tennessee, we share snippets of our off-grid life, cabin build, and garden blessings. Pour yourself a cup of tea, sit back, and take a peek into our off-grid home and family.
I don't think I have the blanks filled in from when I said we were going to be doing some starting excavation for the solar panels to where we are now. We do live off-grid, and so our electricity comes from our solar, and that works really well, especially during the summer when we have lots of sun. But now, as we are in late fall, approaching the cold months, it starts to get a little bit more iffy because our solar panels need to be upgraded, but finding the space on our homestead has been a problem because when we bought this land, it's 26 acres of literally the side of a hill, completely forested. So we cleared out the space that we needed for our house and some garden terraces, and then those garden terraces include the small amount of space that we have for our current existing solar panels. They are just right behind our small greenhouse. But since we needed to upgrade, we needed more space to expand our solar. And so everything that we have is either completely covered with rock or it's very sloped. So our son came out and he sketched out and mapped out a system where we could hopefully expand our solar to make use of the land that we have. And my husband came with his skid steer and did some clearing. So he got into shelves of big rock. In fact, he piled up quite a collection of boulders that we're going to use for something, probably for more raised beds or something like that, retaining walls. They're so handy to have if you have a way to use them, or if you have a way to move them, I should say. Some of it has been excavated, and so I will show you where we are with that and what it looks like. It's looking like another construction zone around here, but I'm kind of excited. So let's get us up to date and let's go from where we were a few weeks ago to where we are now.
We're going to use this as our before shot. The area on the left is going to be excavated. The skid steer is coming up from behind that hairy stump and it's going to be clearing a lot of this space so that it's going to look a lot more open in the near future.
He comes with the forks on the front of his, the little digging bucket. Okay, it's not the forks, it's the digging bucket. I'm sure there's an official name for it.
Greg is attempting to loosen up the dirt and remove this stump from a tree that we've cut down last summer. It is quite tenacious and he just has a lot of chipping away at it. And so this first little while, that is what is taking up his time. It turns out digging out stumps is quite the process, and we went on for 10-15 more minutes of poking, prodding, digging, and finally that stump came loose. And then came the time to work on clearing out the blackberries because we had a little blackberry patch with T-posts, and so we needed the skid steer to raise up the T-posts out of the ground. At least it certainly saved our muscles, and so we appreciated that. And some of the blackberries got moved out of their space, and then some of them got kind of pushed over down the hill where they will continue to grow, just in a different location. In amongst the blackberries, we had chocolate mint and spearmint growing, and so I'm saving as much of that as I can because who doesn't love mint? There are so many times on this homestead that we are truly grateful for having some heavy power equipment. Not everybody has access to that, but if you can find a friend who has an excavator or a skid steer or a tractor, these things can make your life so much easier when you're trying to accomplish an excavating process or moving things, anything like what we're trying to do. Heavy equipment is just such a blessing. We could spend most of the day standing out here watching the skid steer and Greg do the things that he's doing. But right now the objective is some of these tall trees. Some of them are going to be easily blown down by the wind, and a couple of them are dead. Also, they're just a threat to the solar. I did find a native passion fruit, and I enjoyed that while Greg was doing his demolition work. But there are a couple of these trees that he took down, and then as it turns out, a couple more will probably need to be taken out at some later date. As you can see, the landscape is changing. We've cleared out that bushy spot where the blackberries were, and now we have a flat spot. And here go another couple trees. It's kind of interesting. The view is also opening up, and you'll see that as we take more of these trees down, we have a different view of the mountains. Also pay attention to the color of the trees. In about 2 weeks' time, we have gone from mostly green to a beautiful golden glow, which you'll see as the video progresses. It looks way different up here now. Berry patch gone. A huge open area behind the solar panels. All in probably less than an hour, 45 minutes or so. So it's pretty impressive what you can do with some big machinery. Very nice indeed. So I'm not sure the configuration for the solar panels. I know we're gonna have some longer rows, and I thought that big tree was gonna go, that big one. So we'll have to see what he does with that. Maybe we're gonna have the root bucket again, stump bucket. I'm pretty sure there's actually more trees gonna go, but I don't think he wants to use the chainsaw because then you'd have the root to deal with. So. On a different day, which I was not able to record, Greg brought the Mini X and he cleared a lot more into the woods. He pulled out all these boulders, which we are going to use for something. And now we are kind of looking at the lay of the land to see, is there enough room for the new solar panels? And we have determined that we actually need a little bit more space the space that we need is
All the
at
way
the right
down from
angle
here?
so that the sun
It feels
can
like
hit
a
the
curve
solar
there.
panels properly in the winter and in the summer. So here's the boulders. We just are loving them. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do with those, but I do love those. And we're just kind of looking at it, and Greg is showing me those big rocks that were embedded. And we're determining that we do need to probably get another piece of equipment up here in the near future.
A big one.
Bit by bit, we are getting little spots of color on our mountains, which makes us very glad. After Greg and I looked at the lay of the land, we had Adam come up again, and he kind of set us in the right direction so that we know exactly where we need to line up the solar panels, and so we feel like we do have a plan.
This is where we're gonna be, just in this area behind this greenhouse and behind the solar panels. It's probably hard to tell, so I'll describe it as best I can. I just got a phone call with word that the excavator is being delivered in a few hours. So hopefully I'll get this video edited, and then I will have tomorrow's news will be new news. Okay, right behind our greenhouse and our solar panels, we did have garden terraces here. This one had basil and more basil and sunflowers and some watermelon, which didn't do that great, but that's what it was. And then this lower terrace here is still my holy basil. You can see it's still kind of green, and so it hasn't really succumbed to the frost either. It is just loaded. No matter what I do to this garden terrace behind me, the holy basil comes up, and so I can just count on it. I cleared this whole thing out. I planted other things in there, and then the holy basil came, and honestly, I do not complain. I love it. Love the holy basil. It's so good for us. So we have this straight terrace here, that flat area, which is that way, and then we have this one here, and it got changed with the excavation because they pushed down all those trees behind it. I think we're still, some of these other trees down here in the corner are going to be also probably taken down. And then over here behind me, looks like we've had deer coming in here a lot. So this area, we had our blackberries. We had them on T-posts, and we had a bunch of them. So what my husband did is, we haven't destroyed them. He kind of pushed them down the hill, and so they will regrow. These are actually cultivated blackberries, and so we don't want them to go away. And then we have some that we have moved. We also had a lot of mint and spearmint, which it's really hard to kill mint once it is established. So we're expecting that to come up also in the spring. But this big pile of boulders is what my husband pulled out as he excavated some of this area down here. And so those are the ones I was telling you about that we're going to do something with, but we haven't figured it out. They're very hard. You know, we're going to need a piece of equipment to move these. So this immediate area right here, I'll just kind of swirl around here. We have the solar panels in the greenhouse, and then so straight behind that, right where I'm standing basically, we are going to have 8 solar panels, just a little small array here. And then behind this, which is the area that we will be excavating, is we have, you see where that black tarp is? We were using that for weed suppression. And then we have our blueberries up the hill. They're looking kind of red now. A lot of them are looking pretty red. And then we also have a fig tree in the corner. That little green bush is a fig tree that I'm going to have my husband move, because that's a different variety of fig tree. It's not the Chicago Hardy. It's a different one. I don't know. I can't remember what it is, but it tastes different. It's pretty good. So, and then we have some golden raspberries here, which I'm hoping he will also dig out. I hate to lose the plants that we've already planted. Those are like the Ann raspberries. They're delicious. Anyway, that's just an aside. this whole area to the side and down is probably going to be removed. And it's going to be flattened because we're going to have an array of solar panels that's going to go from basically the end of, kind of in the middle of this tree area where the fallen tree is, and it's going to go straight back basically over behind that, it's going to be behind that fig tree and such. So it's going to be I can't remember how many we're going to have, quite a lot of solar panels to add to our array. So we can see the destruction, we can see the demolition that is pretty apparent, but if you aren't used to seeing what it looks like, it may not be as apparent to you. But it has changed quite a bit already, and as of tomorrow, it's going to be changing quite a bit more. We have an area where my husband was trying to clear on this hill here, where he hit solid shelves of rock. And so he wanted to excavate this area, but oh my goodness. So this whole thing here, you can see is just rock. And we had something like this in our driveway, and we actually just ended up having to work around it because we couldn't get it out. We didn't want to dynamite it. But so he's going to try to be removing this so that the solar panels can go up there. That log is going to be removed. And I believe it's a little bit hard because I can't go back far enough. Anyway, things are going to be changing. Tomorrow we're going to have a lot of action going on, and it's going to be exciting. But for now, let me get this kind of before and after so you can see a little bit of the change that we have experienced. And as per usual, we have Booger. Behind me we have Big Mama. Over here we have hiding, okay, let's see if you can spy it. It's like, where's Waldo? There's Little Bit. And over here, down here somewhere, is Buddy. He's a striped. Buddy! There's Buddy! So we have 4 cats out here, but usually there's a few more, and it's getting kind of almost blustery today. It's definitely feeling like fall. We don't even have a hint of sun today. I think that I heard that we were going to be getting some maybe in the afternoon in a few hours, but for now, I'm just kind of laying low, making the fire, using the least amount of power that I need, and just kind of, yeah, that's what we do. It's beautiful. If you can see the colors behind me, we're getting, I love this time of year because we have like this golden hue all around us. And even though we don't have the really vibrant colors right now in East Tennessee, we do have the golden, we have the golden trees around us, and I appreciate all of that, the different colors that we do have. And I'm laughing because our cats are running along this log. Little Bit's having like a play day out there. They just love it when we come out here. They love to have an adventure whenever we come up the hill. It's like the cats don't come out very much. They kind of get lazy if we stay inside, and then, but when we come out, they just love it and they go crazy. So that's what we are looking at for now, and come the next time I'll give you an update and we'll see what we can show you. It's going to be a little bit of a process getting the solar racks built and so forth, but it's going to hopefully make our winter a lot easier to deal with. And these are things that if you don't live off grid, you just don't think about. You just have lights and you have power and you have electricity all the time, but we have to think about every little bit of electricity that we get. So that's why we're doing this. And thankfully, over the last several years, the price of solar panels has really come down a lot to make it more affordable for people like us who don't have a lot of extra money. So, and somebody did mention this on one of my videos. They were asking me why I thought that we were so much better because we live off grid. And you'll never hear me say that ever. We are off grid because of necessity, because we are up here where it wasn't really easy. It was possible, but it wasn't really easy, and it wasn't going to be that much different price-wise to get electricity from the road. And because we knew that we wanted to have some options for sustainability and being somewhat off grid at least part of the time, we went ahead and went completely off grid, and so we got the solar. So people choose their lifestyle for different reasons, and don't assume that if somebody chooses a lifestyle different from yours, that is necessarily that they're saying they're so much better than you. It just may be that they're looking at the road ahead of them like we are and saying, we have these two choices, we have this much money, where are we going to put our resources in the best way possible? And so we made the choices that we've made. It can be sometimes hard, actually sometimes really hard, and yeah, I never envisioned myself living on an off-grid homestead, but you know what? We're making the best of it, and I kind of like it in many days. Some days I wish we were not on an off-grid homestead, but most of the time now I really kind of appreciate it. And so I think that's how it is with most of our lifestyles. Every single day we don't love everything in it, but there's blessings in whatever you choose, and so I think that's something good to remember. Okay, let me get this video edited, and then I'm going to meet the excavator at the road, and we'll check back next time, and you can see what kind of demolition we accomplish taking this and changing it into something completely different. Until next time, stay safe, be well, and may God bless you.